when you're ready.
Hey everyone, this is kind of an update for the Appalachian Trail. I've done a video that covers the first month. I can't believe we've been on the trail for a month now, and it's been truly amazing. The first thing I want to say is thank you for all the trail maintainers and the trail stewards and the ridge runners that are out there keeping us safe, doing maintenance on the trails, and they've done an amazing job. Hurricane Helena has done a lot of damage to the areas, not so much the areas that we've been through so far, but we're really coming up to some areas that have been really damaged. We're actually in Hot Springs, North Carolina right now, enjoying a beautiful sunny day out here. And without further ado, I think I'll talk about a little bit of the particulars of the trail that I have in the video. So you start at Amicalola State Park. Amazing falls, they're very beautiful. And then you hike up to Springer Mountain where the trail starts, like 7 miles up there. It's pretty steep. The one thing I'll say about the Appalachian Trail is, especially in the Georgia, North Carolina section, it's very, very steep. When I first came to the trail, I thought that maybe we could do, the wife and I, since we'd already done a big trail, that we could do longer miles, but that really hasn't happened in the first section because, for one, we didn't have our trail legs. So really we're only doing 8 to 10 miles a day. And that, in hiking standpoint, when you're trying to do 2,200 miles, is really not that far every day. On average, you have to do about 13 miles a day to get there in 6 months. But on the flip side of that, I feel like now that we're in the North Carolina and the Tennessee, where it kind of goes in and out of those two states past the Smoky Mountains, the wife and I, we have our trail legs now. So past couple days prior to coming into Hot Springs, we're able to do 15 miles. So the miles are coming. We're doing more miles, and even with the hills that we have and the hill climbs that we have, definitely be able to continue to do more miles, and it'll get better as our legs get stronger. So once you leave Amicalola and you get up to Springer Mountain's where the trail starts, and then you start following the White Blazes. And I will tell you that the hill climbs, especially in the first 200 miles, will kick you in the teeth because they're tough. The one thing about the trail is especially out here, is there's not really any switchbacks, and if there are, they're very small, and they don't really do too much. And the way the designers made it is, man, you gotta climb straight up these hills, and some of those inclines are, to where, not quite where you're doing hands and feet to climb them, but some of them are really, really steep and really long. I know coming out of the NOC, it was an 8-mile climb, and it really wreaked havoc on a lot of hikers. And the one thing I would say about that is even if it's hard, you just can't quit. And me and the wife are too stubborn to quit, so we're continuing to push. Right now we're at mileage 275, I think, in Hot Springs, North Carolina. And this is one of the towns that got devastated by Hurricane Helena. I guess the stream flooded and the river flooded, and it really did some damage in this town. But they're coming back. They are coming back. In fact, the pizza place just opened up today. We had some coffee at the Artisan Coffee Shop, which I highly recommend. And it's very close to where the trailhead dumps into Hot Springs. The Laughing Hostel is closed, which The Laughing Hostel and Lodge is closed, which is kind of funny to me considering it's the height of the hiking season. And we are in the mega bubble. I mean, it's not just a bubble, but a mega bubble. What that means is that every time we go to a shelter or we're looking for camping sites, there's usually somebody there. And which is cool because we've met a lot of great people. And the one thing about this trail is it's a very social trail, and the vast majority of the hikers have been amazing. They're so nice. They offer advice, they offer help. You know, we all talk about resupply points. We talk about where we're from and, you know, the reasons why we came out to do the trail. And it's really been a special experience, especially for me. I'm not sure if I said why I wanted to do the trail, but I know part of it is my health, just to stay healthy. And another thing is it's a challenge. I'm up for the challenge. I love a challenge, and I'm not going to let this one beat me. And I know for my wife and I, we're both stubborn, and we're going to make it. So 2,000 miles. So more about the trail, I guess. When you first start, we started March 16th. When we first started, you know, none of the trees had leaves. We've kind of been lucky. We've had a few rainstorms. We've had a few nights that have dropped down into the mid to high 20-degree range. When we were in the Smoky Mountains, we had freezing fog that made the mountains look amazingly beautiful. The trees got all frosted over, and it looked like snow, and it looked like a movie, to be honest with you. And then you look a little bit to the left, and it was like there was no no freezing fog that hit it, or no freezing rain that hit it, and it was just as green as you could see. So far, the one thing that I'm kind of disappointed about is we haven't seen very many animals. I know in this video that later on you're gonna see a bunch of snakes. You know, we've seen some racer snakes, some black rat snakes. We didn't see it, but there is a picture of a timber rattler that somebody had saw, and I took the picture. I got the picture from them, so I posted it in here. And then we saw some, like a millipede, some squirrels. But when it comes to bears, we have not seen bears, and we're doing bear hangs every night. And I'm not saying not do bear hangs, but just as of right now, we haven't seen any. We know they're there. We've heard of people have seen some bears, but we just haven't seen them yet. And that's kind of par for the course. When we did the Arizona Trail, the wife and I, we didn't see many animals either. We saw a bobcat, we saw some coyotes and elk, but other than that, you know, cows, I guess, on the Arizona Trail. But for this trail, we haven't seen much. I thought we'd see a ton of deer, but I think what's happening is we're on the ridge lines a lot, or we're in higher elevation where there is a lot of acorns, but they're just old and they look rotten, or you know, maybe animals had already eaten them. And so maybe that's all the animals are down. We did see some damage with some feral pigs that are here, but we never did see the feral pigs. And that damage was like for probably a good 2 miles on the trail, and that was near the Georgia and North Carolina border. But truly amazing. The shelters, talk a little bit about the shelters. The shelters are good. You absolutely need to make sure that your food is hung in a bear hang. Don't take it to the shelters with your backpack. There's enough mice in those shelters that they will get into your backpack and eat whatever food that you left in there. So just be wary of that when you're on the trail and in the shelters. Even if you aren't doing the Appalachian Trail and you just want to come out here and hike, it's amazing. The shelters are nice, especially on cold nights. I know when it dropped down to 26 degrees one night, there was like, I want to say 14 of us in this one shelter, and it helped keep us all warm. So that was kind of nice. If you don't like cold, start later, because in March and early part of April it still snows here. We got into Gatlinburg. What day on Gatlinburg? Um, the the 9th or 10th of April, and it had snowed in the Smoky Mountains. And they closed the road. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to get up to Newfound Gap because they closed the road the day before because of the weather. So the weather here, especially in spring, can change at a moment's notice. You have to be ready. Most people said don't get rid of your winter gear until you reach Damascus, Virginia. So I'm not planning on doing that. I know next week it's supposed to rain quite a bit, so we'll be ready for that. And another thing is that I want to talk about is gear, right? When my wife and we first started out, we started out in hammocks. It kind of made our backpacks a little bit heavier than what I thought it would, and it was really taxing on my wife to carry that much weight. So when we got to Franklin, North Carolina, we stopped at Outdoor 76, and we were able to mail our hammocks back home, and then we picked up a Tiger Wall UL3 Big Agnes tent. I think the tenting is a little bit better for us. I did like sleeping in my hammock, but now my pack weight went from like 40 pounds with the hammock and water and all that down to about 35 or just a little bit lower than that. So much helps me on my legs, much easier. But I want to thank Outdoor 76 too, because they really came through. Not only were we able to buy everything that we needed there, especially when it came to some resupply, some freeze-dried food, but they had the tent we wanted, because I definitely wanted a UL3 because I'm a big guy and it just gives us a little bit more room. Big Agnes tents are very easy to set up. And then they had a hiker area to where you could do laundry. You can charge your electronics and all that stuff. So shout out to Outdoor 76 in Franklin. Truly amazing outfitter. And also in the back of it, they also have a little bar area to where you can get an adult beverage if you would like. And they have a pretty good selection. I know I had some sort of dark beer, but it was very, very good. So after Franklin, the next big milestone after Franklin is heading up to the Smoky Mountains and getting to Fontana Dam. I really liked the Hiker Hilton. When we got into the Hiker Hilton, which is basically a very, very nice shelter, a bunch of us went down to the lake and we went swimming in the lake. And even though it was mid or early March, it really wasn't all that cold. And I tell you what, it felt really good on the muscles. And then we took off from there, got into the Smoky Mountains, made it to Gatlinburg, went down into Gatlinburg, stayed at a hotel, and we visited with my sister Julie. She's my stepbrother's wife. He passed away last year, so when I climbed Kauai, which used to be Klingman's Dome, I kind of said a little prayer for him because it's been about a year since he passed. He died of cancer. That kind of brought back a bunch of memories, but it was nice that I was able to see Julie and visit with her and have dinner with her. And then when we left there, my buddy John came from San Diego, as he did when we were on the Arizona Trail. He joined with us to hike a couple 100 miles with us. I think he's going to get off trail sometime around May 5th, just so I can get home for Mother's Day and be with his family, which is awesome. But 275 miles. We'll be at 300 miles, probably not tomorrow, but the next day. And then we'll be headed to Irwin, Tennessee, where we'll take a day off and retreat all of our gear for ticks. We haven't had any issues with ticks yet, but I know in Virginia people are starting to show pictures of ticks that they're picking up from the grass. So we'll treat all our gear with permethrin, and then we'll definitely be spraying our legs with some sort of bug spray to help prevent ticks. May not stop them totally, but we're gonna try. But you know, I just want to say thank you all for following along on my videos that I've been posting on Facebook and Instagram. I'll continue. This video is really to set up all the pictures that I've taken from the beginning to here at Hot Springs, North Carolina, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, please do me a favor, like and subscribe, and tell me what you think of my videos. It will help me get better. I'm not very good at editing, but I'm getting better and better every time I do it. I'm sorry I haven't done like longer videos earlier, but I think just walking and talking and telling you about my daily habits and my wife's daily habits and what we're doing in short videos is more impactful and shows you guys that we're doing okay. We're 50 something years old and we are hammering the trail and we're kicking it in the tail. So I think my beautiful bride there and my beautiful wife tried to step out real quick. She's right there. She was doing some yoga. Say hi. But we're all healthy. So the last thing I'm gonna say before I cut it over to the pictures and some of the live action video that I took was this is a long trail, and all long trails have their difficulties. This one happens to be early on is the hill climbs, and then the rocks and the roots and the leaves that cover the roots. I know my wife took a spill. She bumped her head a little bit, but she's okay. And then I also took a spill, which I had to go down to the North Carolina Hot Springs Medical Clinic and get my knee looked at. I thought I might need stitches, but I'm okay. But when you're out here hiking, highly recommend trekking poles. Make sure you have some sort of medical stuff, band-aids. I don't think you need a full med kit, but just have some band-aids with you and some tenacious tape, so if you do fall down and get a oopsie or a bump on your knee or a scrape or a cut like I did, you can stop the bleeding and take care of it. You know, we've already met so many awesome people on the trail, and then we've also met a lot of people that did their little portions that they could and that have got off the trail. Just because some people have left the trail doesn't mean that they didn't accomplish something great, because just coming to a trail like this and trying to attempt a section or just attempt a few miles of it is amazing. So I'll leave you with this: is get out there in nature, in your whatever your comfort zone is. Whether it's walking down the street in the neighborhood park, or going out to the state park or the national forest, or getting on one of the 11 national trails. Just get out there. This world is too beautiful to stay inside and not see. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and please keep following, like and subscribe. And thank you guys very much for all your love and support, and we're gonna keep going.